I'm not sure how few or how many actually, because we just don't have the information.
The Sixth Industry Commission report into the Australian charities and not-for-profit sector. But since then, of course, we've had the proposition for, we had the Charities Definition Inquiry in 2001, and we had the proposed Charities Bill, which was proposed by the previous government in 2003-2004. So I was quite interested in your submission today that you really don't support the recommendation by the Henry Review and the Productivity Commission's most recent report into Charities Commission. I wonder why that's the case.
Oh no, what I said, I don't really support the whole need for a new bureaucracy called the Charities Commission, but I'm very interested in the gatekeeping functions of the Charity Commission for England and Wales. I think those gatekeeping functions are very important to isolate and give more authority than the Australian Tax Office says it has now to make reasonable decisions on public policy grounds. Look, it's only that it seems to me maybe that's one of the impediments. Setting up a whole charity commission is setting up a very big new bureaucracy.
So are you aware of the, have you read the Productivity Commission report's recommendations?
Some of them, that related a lot to also the commercial activities of charitable entities, yes, which might be seen to be in competition and so forth with ordinary commercial activities. And yes,
quite a lot of the Productivity report, or Productivity Commission's report, goes to the issue of taxation treatments and the benefits that not-for-profit organisations are able to access. I'm interested too that the notion of public benefit, an issue taken up in the Productivity Commission report around the issue of the public benefits test and competition policy. Is that an issue that you've given any consideration to?
Not particularly, no. I've just focused upon what I think is the need to have a proper test and the need to do it sooner rather than later. Right. I think that's important. Obviously, the opinions of others should be taken into account.
Okay. And just finally, there's one other question, Chair, and that is that the Treasury makes the point in its submission that the bill will only codify one of the aspects of the definition of charitable purposes, and it won't define charitable purposes more generally. I'm quoting here from page 65, and will apply to charities and religious organisations seeking an income tax exemption. So the public benefit test introduced by the bill will not apply to charities seeking access to other tax concessions at either a Commonwealth or state level. Do you see that as an issue?
Well, I think maybe you could amend the bill so that it applies to other areas, to apply to the Commonwealth area. In my thesis here, I really looked at this idea of state and Commonwealth, and I thought the Commonwealth should set the lead here. That's why I advocated the setting up of an adjudicative tribunal which could start to work on these definitions and so forth and have more public policy discretions. And then I thought that the states would in time come on board that. Because at the moment the state's not being bound by Section 116 to the extent the Commonwealth is. They might not be so keen. But I would have thought that you've got to take the lead at the Commonwealth level. And I think that if the bill needs to be amended to include other Commonwealth entitlements and privileges, I think that it should do so.
Okay, thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator. Senator Cameron has another question.
Yeah, Dr. Mutch, when does how do you make the determination about the actions of individuals in relation to an organisation? You know, we've had plenty of reports about child abuse, about mental anguish from people. The argument that gets put forward is that these are individuals within an organisation. It's not the organisation that's doing it. So it's this issue of vicarious liability. When does the problems become so great that it becomes a problem for the organisation and not the individual?
It's a good question. that's what the organisation will often say, look, this was undertaken by someone, an individual within the organisation, we're not responsible. I don't think it's a matter that's not able to be properly addressed. I mean, these decisions are being made now, of course, with the application of whether an organisation's for the public benefit and so forth. It's just a matter of weighing evidence, and that's why I did advocate the implementation of an adjudicative style tribunal so they could weigh these sorts of evidences. But my view is if you've got a small organisation and you've got a very large level of complaints from former members and from people associated with members of the organisation or from people that have been attacked by the organisation, I think it's quite easy. It's a lot easier to weigh evidence of harm versus good, depending on the size of that organisation. So a large religious organisation with millions of adherents, you might see the occasional complaint come forward. But in some small, high-demand, intolerant groups, and I think we know the type of groups that we're concerned about, there's an extraordinary number of complaints and criticisms come out. And I don't think it's that hard a job to weigh complaint against the size and so forth of the organisation. It's just a matter of weighing of evidence, which is something that adjudicative style tribunals do every day of the week.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mutch. We'll conclude with that. So thank you for appearing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
If you wish to make any additional comments, please, you may do so, but we'll make an additional submission.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll now move on to our next group of witnesses.